Please pardon that delay. Welcome to Friday's Costa Rica Open House, our live show here about Costa Rica real estate every Friday live at noon. Today we have two different three-bedroom homes that we are going to be exploring. And as always, we're going to be exploring them using our amazing Matterport tours here so that everyone out there can get a feeling of these properties. And we'll be discussing today the different pros and cons of these two three-bedroom houses. As always, here on my show, I want to talk about some of the nuances, and today we'll specifically be discussing the question, how much land do you need to feel private in Costa Rica? Or really, what size of lot do you need if you want to feel like you have a private property? We'll talk a little bit about lot subdivision law and how things get segregated here. And of course, at the end of our show, we will give you, our loyal following, the opportunity to engage in these Matterport tours yourselves by giving you the link to those 360-degree tours. For those of you who have virtual reality headgear, you can strap those on and take a virtual trip to these houses them yourselves. The two listings we're going to be looking at today, just to give you a quick overview, are going to be Rancho Golondrinas and Campo de Sueños, two three-bedroom homes here in Guanacaste, Costa Rica. I want to first give a quick overview of their basic information so that you get an idea of what listings we're looking at, and then we'll delve into our topic about the land specifically. Here we're looking at Campo de Sueños, a $460,000 home that is about a 10-minute, let's say 10-minute bike ride, really just a 5-minute drive down to Playa Callejones. This is a three-bedroom with a really nice pool, and it is on a 3/4 acre lot, or 3,000 square meters. So we'll be discussing that lot size in particular. We'll also be looking at Rancho Golondrinas, the listing of my colleague Mariam. Asking price is very similar to Campo de Sueños, $465,000. It's a home with a completely different feel. Whereas at Campo de Sueños, you have that clean, modern, fresh, sort of airy look. Here at Rancho Golondrinas, you have those rich wood ceilings. You've got that sort of Guanacaste charm that's more integrated into the property, and really a design that is a lot different than that bright, new, cheery kind of feel that you get over at Campo de Sueños. Let's first talk a little bit about land in Costa Rica and how much property you will need for privacy. Down here, you'll see a large number of parcels that are segregated that have a size of 5,000 square meters, or what turns out to be 1.25 acres. The reason that you see so many properties that are 1.25 acres, that 5,000 meter size and up, is simply that it's easier legally to segregate those parcels using private accesses that the government created sort of as ways for really people to be able to hand down their land to their children easily. So you see tons of developments where the developers wanted to avoid the difficulty of creating a condominium, which is necessary to create private lots that are smaller than that 5,000 square meter size. And to be short, 5,000 square meters here or anywhere above it is going to give you a ton of opportunity to have a private forested existence. And the nice thing about those communities, when you've got 5,000 square meter lots, is that everybody is going to have the same size parcel, and you can assume that people will naturally space their homes out on their 5,000 square meters so as not to be directly on top of their neighbors, really as close as possible. I need to switch. Hopefully the audio quality just improved slightly. Below that 5,000 square meter lot, you will find obviously properties of every size. I have a new home listed that's a 1-bedroom home right by the beach on 230 square meters, or only about 3,000 square feet of property. And then obviously you go up to acreages, farms, etc. The two properties we're looking at have 3/4 of an acre and just over an acre of property. And one of the things that I wanted to mention that's important to consider here in Costa Rica is that if you're buying a lot on a public road and somebody is allowed to use their property as they see fit with no homeowners association, if there is no rule from preventing them from doing so, here in Costa Rica, you can build a privacy wall or any structure that doesn't have a window on the first story all the way up to the immediate property line. And you see that more commonly here in Guanacaste, people are opting for building these perimeter walls all the way around their property, specifically to create privacy and security on these smaller properties. I see a ton of lots that are segregated at about 1,000 square meters. That's a 1/4 acre. You could find a 1/4 acre in our area for sale at maybe $80,000 to $90,000 if it was close to the beach and sort of one of those beach rental property opportunities. 1,000 square meters and a 1/4 acre, when you lay it out and when you put a perimeter wall around it, still can feel absolutely like you have some space, and you can fit not only a pool, but a bit of lawn and garden area, your little Zen pagoda if you want to do that. Now, this is obviously if you have a house that's in that 2 to 3 bedroom range. But really, I would say about 1,000 square meters is that point at which, or a 1/4 acre, is really where you can start to feel that if everybody builds walls around me, I'm going to be a little bit closed in, and you might want to look for a larger property. One of the properties we're going to look at today here for Rancho Golondrinas is actually on 2 lots. Each of them are a 1/2 acre. And it's a great example that I feel that 2,000 square meters, or just a little bit right in that 1/2 acre range, really is where you start to feel like you have plenty of space for yourself, and where if your neighbors decided to build perimeter walls around their properties as well, that you would see you could still not feel very closed in. So when buying property here, do keep in mind that people can build up to that property line if they don't have a window on their first story. And that can definitely create a closed in, small feeling on your property if you own those lots that are less than a 1/4 acre or less than 1,000 square meters. Let's delve in now with our first property here that I want to discuss. Actually, this is not the first one I wanted to discuss. Here is Campo de Sueños. We're starting out in the middle here. And when we share these Matterport tours here, I highly encourage you to click around. You can use WSAD to move around like you're playing a video game. It'd be so cool if we could add some lasers to this or something to sort of dodge around or to make this an actual game. But here at Campo de Sueños, you're on 3/4 of an acre. And I wanted to show what that 3/4 of an acre looks like when you're actually walking around it. So let's take a little stroll here, stepping out the front door of the house. Hopefully this is what you're seeing. Great. Here, as we step away from the pool and move past the house, you're going to get an idea of what 3/4 of an acre feels like. And frankly, at Campo de Sueños, you can see that 3,000 square meters, the size of this property, leaves you a ton of space. The public road is out there at the gate past Dimitri's motorcycle there. And here's exactly what I'm talking about with privacy walls. Along one edge of Campo de Sueños' 3,000 square meters, the neighbor has gone right up to their property line with a privacy wall for as a little development that's over there with 5 total homes. And you can imagine if this were a very small piece of property surrounded by that kind of privacy wall. Whoop, now you can see all my suggested videos there. Here's the 3/4 of the acre looking towards your neighbor in that closest direction. So you actually own almost until, let's say, this Guanacaste here that I'm showing with the cursor. And that 3/4 of an acre even is going to provide the buyer of this property the opportunity to build additional structures. Really, you'd have, you could do some cabins out there and still have the privacy here in your main home. Campo de Sueños is a great example of how people, when the owners purchased this, I think 4 or 5 years ago, it was just the bones of a normal Guanacaste, sort of concrete house. They did a ton of work to create this fresh, cool aesthetic here in the open kitchen, living and dining space here. They added on the pool, which was critical to boosting their rental interest and their rental income. And they also converted what previously was a garage over here into a 3rd bedroom. Really adding a 3rd bedroom onto a property here creates a lot of opportunity for your occupancy to expand on a rental property. There are countless 2-bedroom condominiums in Guanacaste, Costa Rica that are for rent, and therefore your 2-bedroom rental market typically has an enormous amount of inventory. Next, let's hop over to our other 3-bedroom home here with a completely different feel than Rancho Golondrinas. Than Campo de Sueños. Here we're looking at Rancho Golondrinas. As I was saying, you have a Guanacaste feel, the wood ceilings, sort of darker, richer colors. Definitely, this is it was perfect. We had a showing during an absolute downpour a week ago. And this has got to be one of the most cozy homes I've ever been in. It was perfect timing for it to be raining outside and be indoors in this sort of warm sort of space. Now, Rancho Golondrinas, we're going to look here. They have a full acre of property. And here we're looking outdoors at what that looks like. Hopefully we can get this video started here. For some reason, okay. Let me go back here. And just a moment here. We'll switch back to this tab. I will try to reload the tour in just a moment. And I'm realizing I don't have the link easily accessible. While we take this short break for me to bring it back up here, I wanted to thank all of my clients, the people out there who decide to pick up the phone and call me to either buy or sell real estate here in Guanacaste, Costa Rica. Definitely, here's a cheers to a happy Friday with some responsible water consumption. Man, and my computer is just taking its sweet time here as we pull up the tour again. There we go. All right, now hopefully we'll be able to get this loaded and get back into our tour in just a moment. Yeah, everything's doing funny stuff here. That is the wonderful thing of working live on YouTube here. Well, and oh well, sometimes things just don't go as you planned. We have a video walking around. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to go outside and take a look, hopefully, at what this acre looks like. I'll also send a huge cheers to Christopher Worth. Thanks very much for joining us today. Glad you're enjoying things. And now, okay, so we are trying to walk outdoors and take a look at this acre here at Rancho Golondrinas. As I mentioned here, the property is actually separated into 2 lots. So you only have a ½ acre over on this side of the hedge, closest to the house. And then you have another ½ acre over here in this green space on our right. You can see that really 4,500 square meters of property, which is what you get here, is plenty of land to be private for yourself. You could have an entirely separate property here over the hedge to our right-hand side outside of the frame and still, have 2,000 square meters or a half acre of property for yourself and feel pretty darn private. In this place, Rancho Golondrinas and Campo de Sueños are both homes that are not located in gated communities. So they're very similar in that regard. Rancho Golondrinas is about a 10-minute drive out to the beach, whereas Campo de Sueños is a bit closer. Here, one of the amazing things that they've got on the property at Rancho Golondrinas, and so now we're stepping out into the backyard, and this is, again, just on half of the property. We're going to see if we can take a look. If we get this to load here, absolutely. We're going to see from the sky just how big the property looks. Slowly but surely we ascend. Rancho Golondrinas is a large home, by the way. I think we've got something like 2,400 square feet in there, 2,500 square feet interior space. And here, really, you can get an idea. On the left side of the property, you've got the home and backyard and driveway on just a half acre. And then you have an entirely open lot here to the right side of that driveway that is another half acre of land. If someone were so inclined, they could potentially acquire Rancho Golondrinas and sell that property. It would be totally possible. This home, the current owners also did some improvements of their own. They changed this former bedroom into an office over here. It's a lockout. So you've got a really nice, separate, perfect place for digital nomads. Here, they added this roof over the space between sort of the horseshoe layout of the house. And they've also really done a nice job furnishing the home with some new stuff. This was definitely a big shout out to the former owner of this house, John. Loved the look that you had for it, but it was a little bit worn and sort of just, more comfortable for you, John. This new house has a bit, the new furniture just has some great curb appeal. Like I said, this is a 3-bedroom home. One of those bedrooms is currently an office. But on either side of this living space here, you've got your inside bedrooms. The primary suite is huge. You also have a utility room. This is a house that originally had 4 bidets in it. I can't remember if the current owners have removed any of them. You come through the kitchen here. They've updated the appliances, added some really nice stuff in here. And then you have one of the biggest primary bedrooms that I have recently seen. This is actually, I think, a California king bed in the middle of the room. And you can see there's just massive space on every side of it. The home has these gorgeous wood floors in the bedrooms. They've got the wood ceilings again. And you even have your subscriptions set up on the TV here. So Rancho Golondrinas, again, is offered at $465,000. Campo de Sueños, the house that we were looking at previously, is asking $460,000. If you would like to delve into either of those Matterport tours, here we go with those links. You can hold up your phone right now and use the camera function to scan this QR code, I believe, for Campo de Sueños. And if you would like to review our other listing, hopefully this one is for Rancho Golondrinas. These are 2 different QR codes. I just changed it. Let's go back here. First of all, I should have mentioned, if you want to find out more about these listings or any others, be sure to send me an email to matt@costaricamat.com. Again, here is listing number 1, the 3D Matterport tour. Use your camera function on your phone to pull it up and explore away. Here is Matterport tour number 2. Thanks very much for joining me, folks. It's been a great time. I look forward to you joining me next Friday here. Have a good one.